In Ferguson, Missouri, they're cleaning up after a new round of protests. More than 30 people got arrested overnight. Today, the city remains under a state of emergency. Here's a glimpse of what it will take like and what it looked like last night on the streets. Mark Strassmann has the latest from Ferguson.
St. Louis County Police held the line overnight along West Florissant Avenue. Officers say they advanced when some in the crowd threw rocks and bottles at them.
This is just about keeping people safe.
Also overnight, there were questions about this group of heavily armed men. They call themselves Oath Keepers and say they were sent to Ferguson to protect people who work for a website called InfoWars, which promotes various conspiracy theories.
You live around here, sir? You live in Ferguson?
This man identified himself only as John.
Who are you here to protect?
InfoWars, I've said before, are here. They're documenting the activities, and we're here to keep them safe.
The St. Louis County Police said in a statement to CBS this morning that Chief John Belmar called their presence unnecessary and inflammatory. Earlier Monday, a large show of civil disobedience stopped traffic. Lines of protesters joined hands blocking traffic in both directions along Interstate 70. 64 people were arrested. Nearly 60 people were arrested for blocking the entrance to the federal courthouse in downtown St. Louis.
There's no official protest. Everybody has their place in this.
Pastor Robert White has been on the front line since Michael Brown's death 1 year ago.
Has the conversation out here improved?
Absolutely. Everybody's looking forward to this change that we fought for.
St. Louis County Executive Steve Stenger said this street gun battle, which led to a police-involved shooting, was a tipping point to issue the state of emergency order.
We saw things spiral out of control. I can tell you that our community has come too far and has worked too hard to be set back again.
Mark Strassmann joins me now. Mark, thanks for being here. Sunday night, gunshots were fired, but last night there were only arrests. So do authorities feel they've gotten a handle on the protests as of now?
You know, but I think they've certainly gotten better at it. One big change last night was a state of emergency order on the part of the St. Louis County put St. Louis County's top cop and not Ferguson's top cop in charge of the protests. This is a guy who has more experience in dealing with the protesters and significantly greater resources. So that was a big help. So what they basically do is that protesters are across the street, the cops are on this side of the street, and as long as the protesters stay on their side of the street, everything's fine. When the protesters start lobbing rocks and bottles, when they start wandering into the street, that's when it becomes more problematic, and the cops will try to warn them to get back. Sometimes they'll flash a flashlight on them to try to identify people, and then they'll go after them. And occasionally there was some pepper spraying last night between police and protesters. And of course, there were also 23 arrests out here. But by and large, it was better last night than it was the night before when police shot a teenage suspect, a suspect that remains in critical condition.
Hey, Mark, I'm just curious about these guys that are armed on the streets now. What are the citizens saying in reaction to seeing them out there with their weapons?
Well, you know, it's another part of the volatile mix out here. I mean, there's been an issue out here, of course, all along, even from a year ago. People who show up to these protests armed, and they are part of the mix of people who are just out here to exercise their civil rights to protest. And so you have yet another group of folks out here who feel as though they need to carry weapons to protect, in this case, apparently clients of theirs who represent a certain website. And this is something that the police are strongly discouraging. They see it as inflammatory. They see it as needlessly provocative. They want as few weapons out here as possible. And here we have apparently outsiders coming in, bringing more weapons to the table. So it's something else that police are going to have to keep an eye on out here.
Mark Strassmann in Ferguson. Mark, thanks so much.